I mean, so recently I've been transitioning from like mom and pop sponsors, people that know me from my hometown, and I feel like as I'm rising with my talent, I'm going to be able to tell my story a little bit more. So I want to go more commercial. So you guys are the really first big brand, commercial brand that I'm signing with. So I really wanted to dive in. I'm really excited. Like you said, we went to Rutgers together, and I grew up trading a little bit. I love economics. I feel like if you understand economics and you understand how the world flows, you kind of can understand everything. So
Yeah.
being tapped in with that and being a businessman in MMA is rare. So I think just the values align.
How that being said, I mean, how to jump into a little bit, how difficult is it to kind of focus on business simultaneously to being full time, taking care of your body, right? Taking care of your mind, trying to tap in, train every day, right? Is it really challenging? Like, why aren't more people tapped in like that?
Because it's extremely fucking difficult. It's also cyclical. So growing up, I learned how to manage it, and I made a lot of mistakes, but I learned a lot of lessons. So now I kind of have that balance where training and MMA and UFC is the number one thing in my life. That's what I want to do, is be a world champion right over the next 5 years. So my decisions are very much so automated. I know the number one thing in my life right now is MMA. The number one thing in my life overall is my family. The number one thing that I want to leave behind, my purpose and my provocation from God is to help others and help the youth. That's why I'm opening up the Savage School. So I kind of have a clear direction, and it allows me to kind of automate all my decisions. Is this decision gonna lead me in the direction that I want to go towards my goal right now, towards my goal in the future? And it's a very easy yes or no. And I feel like the most successful people are very decisive, and having that decisiveness allows it to be a lot easier. I think my load management is very high. I think that is because I give my energy, and I'm very wary of it, but I give it to the right people. So if I give it to my family, my girl, my mom, my coaches, my team, people that I care about, the energy is reciprocated this way and it's reciprocated this way. You know, I'm very religious, and it's reciprocated through God. So you're actually able to have more energy rather than less, even though
And be
you're
depleted,
expending
yeah,
more.
yeah. Because it's so I understand to an extent. It's like you're feeling fulfilled, right, through all this energy that you're giving out because these things internally, intrinsically that motivate you. You're feeding them like through all these actions that you're taking, basically,
Correct.
right?
And it's cyclical, you know. There's times where you're extremely motivated, and there's times where you're not motivated, and you have to be disciplined. So I learned to make sure that when it's high, I strike when the iron's hot. When I'm feeling like this, I make sure at a minimum I'm going at a more gradient scale.
That's like a really, really good point. That's
Yeah.
something that I actually battle as well, right? I mean, you can't always be at the peak. You're gonna have these kind of ups and downs, right? And it's who knows why, right? Your energy goes up and down. There's so many different reasons as to why it can. But for me, it's the same thing. It's like, what is my baseline? What are the baseline actions that I can take to maintain, a good level? But then once I am cultivating and I have a lot of that energy, that's when I start like pushing in, like trying to go harder and trying to get as much done. Not like burn out, right? But just take advantage of being that like connected.
You have to be willing to do the work.
Yeah, yeah. So let's go back to you're what? You're 28,
29.
29. All right. So 29, you're obviously several years removed from the whole college wrestling career, right? Walk us through like just back to college. Did you didn't go to Rutgers right away, right? You went to JUCO and stuff, or
Yeah, man. So, I mean, I'll take it all the way back to high school, you
yeah.
know. I grew up with my parents. I was a little bit of a troubled youth. So I moved down to a really good wrestling town in Toms River, New Jersey, in and out of different homes. So my parents just made me focus on athletics. So they said, you're going to be an athlete. You're not going to do school, so you could just focus on that. I was very blessed to have great parents that supported me in that way. I went to junior college. After I went to junior college,
How in high school? How often were you training for like wrestling?
oh, every day, twice a day. Yeah, sometimes I wouldn't go to school, and my parents would let me train and stuff. Actually, my dad always knew, but my dad's Joseph Lewis. He's a coach, St. Mary's South Amboy, Carter McCarrick. 20 years, they've been St. Joe's. He's sent kids Division I, sent kids professionally to the league. So my dad was a coach, so he
Right.
kind of always understood that. And he was a coach at a Catholic school right next to Perth Amboy, which is inner city. So he would get kids that were like me, and he managed them. So my dad knew. He just
How
knew.
to handle the persona, everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for did your dad push you to wrestle, or did you choose to wrestle?
No, so I just started off playing basketball, and then I was way too aggressive. Like I would be trying to fight people since I was like 5 years old, and then I started Taekwondo first. A lot of people don't know this. People see me strike and they're like, "Bro, how can you strike like that? It's a wrestler." I started off doing Taekwondo, and I realized it was the only place that I could get into my flow state. The only place that I listened. The only place that I was disciplined. The only place I was able to be still, be composed, and be calm. And I was probably 5, 6 years old, and I noticed that, and I said, "This is a good feeling, and this is where I want to
That's
be."
crazy to have that awareness that young.
And I don't think I even had the awareness. I just had the feeling, and it made me feel good.
Right.
I didn't get the awareness till I was older.
Right.
But
Now you're like making that connection, but it was a feeling.
it was a
Right,
feeling.
interesting.
And that's what I always chase when I wrestled. And that it's not a high, but it's the flow state, And I used to not be able to control that. I was able to control
You're
it
like
as a
in the
kid.
tunnel. You feel untouchable.
Your eyes tap
Yeah.
in,
Yeah.
and nothing else matters. You're completely present in the moment.